Hey, Don here. Today I got another answer to this question we got online. I want to build a pedal board. What pedals should I start with? Boy, that's a deep rabbit hole. Stick with me and we're going to get into this.
Oh yeah! Welcome to the show!
Let's talk about what you see on most pedal boards from the pros. Guess what? You're going to see stuff like a tuner pedal. You want to get your guitar in tune. Probably some kind of distortion pedal. Maybe a delay pedal, and maybe some kind of reverb. Those are your core sounds that everybody uses. Like I said, the shorter answer is you can start with those. The other thing that you might consider, and I didn't bring one over, but you could consider getting it all built into one pedal, a multi-effects processor pedal. Boss makes a number of them. I've got the GX, I'm looking at the shelf over there. I've got a GX100 in stock. I got more GX1s. Those are popular because they're affordable. Those are coming back in. Should see those here in the next few days. Getting started, a few individual pedals, like what I mentioned here, will get the job done, and you can start building your pedal board. And then it's a matter, okay, what pedal board should I get? That's another topic. Depends on how many pedals you're going to get. You get a size that fits everything that you need. If you start there, you'll have a good arsenal of stuff to use that'll be really popular to have. Let's take a closer look at this question about what pedals should I get. The first thing you might consider on the distortion side is, I'm assuming you're playing through an amplifier, all right? A lot of amplifiers already have distortion built in. So where do you want to get your distortion from? Do you want it to be from the amplifier, or do you want it to be from a pedal? Okay, you can get anything like regular distortion pedals. Here's a DS1 from Boss. That's one of their more popular pedals. Also the Blues Driver. Maybe you want a little bit more crunch or something. That's a real popular one. Then you can get specific pedals. We carry the NuX Plexi Crunch. You want the old school Plexi head type distortion, you can get that in a pedal. There's such a variety. You could be looking for days at all of these things. It gets really confusing. So you want to start simple. Besides that, if you're building a pedal board, these are great things to know. But I do want to discuss the topic of, should I build individual pedals on a pedal board, or should I get a multi-effects processor? All right, give me a second. I'll go grab that GX100 and I'll show you a couple things that we can talk about that. Be right back. Okay, GX100. This is one of their newer, more popular pedals that they're doing right now. First, the concept. If you do individual pedals, you buy one pedal, you get one sound generally, unless it's a dual pedal or something, maybe you get a couple sounds. But you can see how you keep building more sounds and more pedals. If you get to where you need or want a lot of different types of sounds, we haven't even talked about modulation effects like chorus, flanger, that kind of stuff. Or what about the pitch shifting ones, the octave or actual pitch pedals, things like that. And then what about looping? Looping seems to be a real popular thing people want to do now. All right, all of this stuff they put into one of these. So you got one of these. What's the advantage? What's the disadvantage? Let's talk cost. All right, let's just go straight for the cost. That's the big one. That's always a factor in every purchase. All right, you start looking at pedals. If we stick with Boss or any of the other brands like NuX, or I've got some Ibanez, I got a Tube Screamer over there, stuff like that. You're going to pay probably $50 for a distortion pedal on up. Things like reverbs and delays get pricier. You could be almost at $200 for a pedal. Tuner pedals are still roughly $100 to $150, depending on the pedal that you get. If you get popular ones, or the ones that everybody uses because they work well. You start adding pedals up, it doesn't take long to get to $400, $500, $600 or more. Plus, if you buy a pedal board to put this stuff on, you got an expense there. This one, I have the GX on. I have a GX1. That's one of their more affordable, like a scaled back version of this. Those, I just looked it up. I sold one and got it coming in for somebody. a little over $200. $230, I think, is the current price on those. Don't quote me on these prices. That stuff changes all the time. This one's roughly $600 because it does everything. Whatever pedal that you get, they build into these. So now, what's the downside? Sounds like a great thing. You want to get it all in one shot, be done with it. The downside is, and where I hear most people complain about multi-pedals, is the learning curve on how to program them. If you have the patience and the wherewithal to learn to program one of these, guess what? I'm kind of in that camp, because if I go into a project and I need to create a sound, guess what? I'd like to have all the tools available. What happens if I get in there and I got my pedal board now with my 6 or 8 pedals, and ooh, there's a flanger or there's some other sound that I need. I can't create the sound that I want. I got to go buy another pedal, and it keeps going. And now what happens if your pedal board is already full? Now you're looking at a bigger pedal board. All right, we're going to cut here. Got a customer. Be right back. All right, where was I? Customer came in, but I was talking about the cost factor between these and the benefit of using a multiprocessor. There's a couple benefits, okay? Maybe cost if you're going to get a bunch of pedals and you want everything in one tool. The other benefit I see, and I had a personal experience on, it was, I can't remember how many years ago, but I did sound for a Nashville country artist that came to town. Guy walked in with a huge pedal board, probably at least three rows of pedals and probably almost 3 feet wide. And we didn't have much time for them to get set up and ready to go, but we got everything else going, and the guitar player was sitting there playing around. He had a bad cable and he didn't know which one it was between all those pedals. So every pedal that you do, there's a potential problem or an issue that you can have with a connection, a cable, connector, something like that. And then troubleshooting can be an issue. Now, I'm not saying that one of these won't stop working, but at least you've eliminated the connection issue. So if you have the patience, and this is my rule of thumb for this, and I talk to a lot of guitar players about this scenario, if you have the patience to sit down and learn to program this, boy, you can get everything that you need out of one processor, and now it's saved. And most of these now have usually a USB or some kind of connection to a computer that you can save your settings. You can do some kind of backup or load things in. I know a lot of them now, especially the modeling pedals, are allowing you to load in sounds from other artists into the pedal, so now you can get their sounds. Another personal story that I'll tell you about, this was back in 2019. I know it was before COVID hit. My buddy that I used to tour with, guitar player, ended up running sound for the Moody Blues. They were on tour with Yes in Asia over near Chicago. So I went over there to hang out with him and help him out for the day. Yes was the band that had Steve Howe. Guess what he was using? Multi-effects processor. It happened to be the Line 6 Helix. If you want one of those, I don't stock them, but I can get those. Boy, that's got everything under the sun in it, and they sound great. And also, I can't remember the guy that was playing with Asia that day, but he also had a Helix. And then my biggest endorsement was my buddy Ray, who, when I toured with him, traveled with a full stereo Mesa Boogie all-tube rig with multiple processors to get every sound that he'd want under the sun. And when I asked him what he was playing through, if he still had some kind of a tube or a boogie rig or something like that, he said, I don't need any of that stuff now that I got my Helix. So what an endorsement from a guy that spent his whole career when he was touring playing through a full tube rig. The stuff sounds good. The processor pedals are really getting good, and you can get about what you want out of them. I talked about the cost factor. You can definitely see, especially if you go online and start pricing some of these pedals, it adds up the more pedals that you get. So I'm not trying to push my thought process on somebody. You do you. That's something to consider if you're going to buy a lot of pedals. I also recommend watching some YouTube videos on other players. Maybe pick a couple players that you're maybe your heroes or somebody you want to emulate, and go find some videos where they're talking about their gear or their setup. There's all kinds of that stuff out there. See how they're doing it. If you want that sound, kind of see what the pros are doing, see what, maybe that'll give you a direction on which way to go on some of this stuff. Definitely borrow ideas from those guys. One of the things about these, and I touched on it a little bit, is the order of the pedals. That is the real deep rabbit hole. Which pedal do you, if you're going to plug them in, you got this one, this one, this one, this one, which one goes first? I don't even want to get into that topic because that is so personal on what you want to do and what you're trying to accomplish with your sound. Do a little research, learn that, experiment. That's the best way to do it. If you're going to get a few pedals, try them. See if you like having the delay before the chorus or the whatever, and do it that way. I wanted to talk about distortion. Okay, you can get it all. There's so many distortion pedals, but I'm assuming you're plugging it into an amp. Most amps will do some kind of distortion. So that's where you have to make a decision. Do I want to get my distortion from the amplifier, or do I want to get it from a pedal? Now, I'm seeing, and I run a lot of sound for bands, and I'm seeing more where the amp is being taken out of the equation because these pedals are so good at emulating an actual amplifier that on stage, some players plug into here, come out of the outputs, and go straight to the PA system, and maybe they're wearing in-ear monitors so they can hear themselves, and it sounds just like the real deal, and they don't need the amplifier on stage anymore. Some players still want that sound of that amp sitting there, depending on the situation, but that's something else to consider with a multi-effects processor. It will give you that kind of capability too. The other thing you need to think about on distortion is how heavy of a distortion do you want? And that might be dictated by the songs and the music that you're playing. Like I said before, blues driver pedals. They're very popular. They give you a little bit of a crunch sound and a boost. So you'll see a lot of blues players that just want to, they do a solo, they want their level boosted and add a little crunch to it so it cuts through a little bit better. That's where these type of pedals, the tube screamers, are popular for that too. How much distortion? You playing heavy metal? Well, you want really saturated distortion. You can go, there's so many pedals targeted for metal players and just all the different distortions. Probably the biggest choice you have in pedals is distortion pedals. So really look at what's out there, kind of decide what you want to do, because you got a lot of options when it comes to that. One of the biggest problems I see when I start talking to new guitar players is they don't know, they know the sound that they want, but they have no idea how somebody, when they hear a recording, they don't have any idea how that sound was created. That's where you got to spend a little time, and YouTube is great for this too. So you can go, every pedal that you see, there's probably a YouTube video out there showing somebody using it so you can get an idea what the thing sounds like. So go watch a YouTube video on your favorite chorus pedal or whatever that you're trying to add. But the other thing you need to start doing is learning how to identify what sound is being used. And my buddy Ray that I toured with, boy, he was good at it. We'd go in the studio and he would be recreating a sound he heard that he wanted. And he said, yeah, I need a little of this, I need this. And he even to the point where I think I need to put this chorus before the reverb to get the sound correct. Some guys just really get into it. The more knowledge you gain on that subject, the better you're going to be at creating that sound. And even in the multi-pedal processors like this one here, one of the features you get with this one is the fact that you can have two different lines or orders of pedals. You can create, okay, I want this, 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 and this, and then the B chain, you can do this, 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 and this time. Those are types of features that a lot of guitar players really look at. Maybe you have a situation where on this song I need it this way, this song I need it that way. Kind of hard to go redo all your pedal cables and stuff if you're doing the pedal board. Not many guys are that into it, but the guys that are, guess what? That could be a deciding factor in how you're going to do your rig. All right, let's see. I want to make sure I hit all my points here. For guys that just don't know what sounds or the effects sound like, let's talk about a couple of them, all right? Delay or echo effects. Okay, that's where you hear, hey, 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 hey. And generally you've got the ability to how far apart those are, that delay, 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 slower or faster or real fast delay almost sounds like a slapback, like that type of a thing. Then you can also generally on a delay pedal adjust how many times you hear that repeat. So that's the simple controls on delay. Like I said, all of these get into more elaborate. The more elaborate pedal you buy, the more features and controls that they give you to control it. What about reverb? Honestly, reverb, and no matter how you use it, What they're trying to create is the sound of being in a bigger hall or room. That's the concept of reverb. What if I want it to sound like I'm in a big cathedral and you want that sound? Or maybe it's just a small tile room. You can go anything from a small room, a garage sound, or whatever. That's what reverb is doing, is trying to recreate the environment that you're playing in to give you that type of a sound. Here again, there's lots of varieties of reverbs that give you different characteristics, but that's the general concept of reverb. Modulation effects, all right? You got chorus, you got flanger, you got tremolo, you got all these different types of modulation effects. The chorus is a wavery thing where you get peaks and valleys, you know, and you can adjust the speed. How fast is it wavering? Chorus will do multiples. They'll actually, that's why I call it a chorus, is they'll create multiple signals with different variations of modulation, and what you end up with all of a sudden now sounds like multiple guitars. They're used a lot on like some singers and different things like that to create this big fat sound. Here again, experimentation is key with all of these things. The octave and pitch things are pretty explanatory, self-explanatory. An octave pedal will let you play an octave lower or higher what you're playing. You'll hear some guitar players use those as an effect. Pitch, if you want to do harmonies. I don't see too many guitar players do that, but it is something that you will see. It depends on the song. Like I said, if you're not familiar with the sounds that these things make, YouTube's a great source. You want to hear some modulation or chorus pedals in action? Just type in chorus pedal in YouTube and start listening to what they sound like. That'll give you an idea what it creates and what you're actually going to get out of that pedal. Before you know it, then you'll know, yeah, you start identifying that's a chorus sound, or that's a flanger, which is more drastic of a chorusy sound. You'll see examples and you'll learn these examples of what this stuff sounds like. The other piece of advice I can probably give you if you're going to do an individual pedal board, because let's go back to that, that's what the question was about. They want to build a pedal board. I see a lot of guitar players that go just buy a pedal because, oh, that's a popular pedal, you got to have one of those. Try to refrain yourself from just buying the most popular pedal, because most of the popular pedals, it might just be a marketing trick. You go watch a YouTube video, oh, this thing sounds great, but yeah, this chorus pedal might be $300, might be some boutique pedal. And before you know it, your budget's blown on just one pedal or two pedals. Be cautious. Go listen to a bunch of them. Double pedals, okay? Geez, I didn't even talk about looping. That's another video. Go watch some looping videos and you'll understand what looping is. It's really a cool concept. And the other thing, if you're going to go this route with individual pedals, get a pedal. Play with it. Start and do it gradually. Learn it. Understand what you're going to get out of the thing. Even if it's a distortion pedal. If you want to play heavy metal and your amp just won't do it, well then get a metal style pedal or something that's designed for that and start using that. Adjust it. You'll get the sound eventually dialed in what you want. And then when you say, well, I'm hearing guys, but I'm hearing a delay too. They're doing something with a delay or a chorus or something. Once you start identifying those sounds, then you can add that to your arsenal. That's why they call it building a pedal board, because you start and you slowly build this thing to get what you want out of it. This subject is so much more detailed than what I'm going over here. The best advice I can give you is educate yourself as best you can with whatever resource. Go watch some YouTube videos and see what other guys are doing. Soon you'll start understanding the kind of sounds that you want. Lately, one of the big things is modeling. They actually, impulse responses, they'll actually look at, okay, this amp sounds like this, and they actually create a model. A lot of amplifiers. Our most popular selling amp is the Boss Katana series. They have all the stuff built in too, so you might already have an amplifier where you can get a lot of these sounds that we talked about built in. That's another way to go about it. The problem with those is you don't have much control. You can dial it in and play that sound, but if you're looking for a lot of different sounds to go back and recall, then maybe coming up with some setup like this would be the best way to go. All right, I think I've talked enough about this subject because there's no way I'm going to cover everything. Go ahead, look into how you want to do it, make the decision for yourself on what works best for you. And that's all I got on this subject. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe. Our content now is being pushed out to not only Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, places like that. You can follow us on all those formats. So if you want to hear some more of this content or you want to see more videos like this. And if you like this, hit that like button. That always helps too. And if you have a question that you'd like to see me answer or a subject you want me to go over, go ahead and leave in the comments or send me a message at teglermusic.com. That's all I got. We'll talk to you guys next time.